Hi guys, how you going? It's Steve here from Importing for Profit, and today we're got a special guest online, and I'm really happy to be in touch with you again, William. William from KeepspaceAU. How you going?
Not too bad, not too bad. Thanks for having me again, Steve.
Yeah, no problem. So I thought this piece would be really interesting for our readers and our viewers, but also probably for your clients, William. I thought it'd be great for us to put our heads together and have a bit of a chat around how importing businesses in Australia are being affected by the coronavirus situation that's everywhere at the moment. So, no doubt you're probably seeing this all in the news as well, given that you're, part of the delegate that represents Australian importers when we interface with China. I know that you're up there last year and you actually met President Xi Jinping, which is a huge credit to yourself. Can you just tell us a little bit about your involvement with that whole operation of representing Australian importers when you interface with China?
A bit of my background. The business I'm involved in is KeepspaceAU. So we are a third-party logistics service provider for e-commerce, retailer and stuff. And we help a lot of people who could be importing their goods worldwide from China, Germany, US into Australia. And we pick, pack, ship and distribute it out. And as you know, logistics is core essential business and it's the backbone for the economy. It just lubricated. Without logistics, stuff will be stopping. And how I came across onto China and stuff, we realized that, hey, we need to develop better relationship for businesses, and there are a huge opportunity for businesses in Australia, not only to consider import, but also to consider the export element of it. And that's where KeepspaceAU is here to help.
So from 2020, the first of the first, through to now, we're just kind of like starting to realize the impact of this corona business. But in those short 3 months, it's obviously been all over the media around this scenario that took place in China. What have you seen happen in your business? Have things changed?
We actually saw an increase in demand for more consumption and more goods to be purchased over online. Just to give you a bit of what's happening with KeepspaceAU, we just hit our 50,000 total orders that we ship out as well this week. And we are on to close to 51,000. So I think there's only 200 or 300 more orders to 51,000. So yeah, in this period, we thought it's like doom and gloom for retail, but for online, we see a huge pickup.
In the different businesses that you do logistics fulfillment for, what's been moving quicker and what do you think the reasons are for that?
Fast-moving consumer goods, no doubt, ranging from toilet paper to the essential. Of course, in times of crisis, people will be stockpiling. Sounds quite ridiculous, but people are in demand for those. And look, that's the thing with fear, right? It plays into you, and people have the fear to like, hey, we need more stuff. Everyone wants to be healthy. People would still like their lifestyle. So people have been purchasing a lot of exercise equipment. And the last one, it's kind of controversial, but alcohol.
Yeah, sure. I guess if you're stuck inside for a couple of weeks, having a couple of bottles of wine there is a good backup plan, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So that's really interesting that you're seeing actually a ramp in FMCG sector. And we do too. So for those of you watching who maybe don't know, Importing for Profit magazine also runs workshops to help Australian businesses figure out their particular import strategy, right? And find suppliers up in Asia. And this is something that William and I talk about quite a bit. But what we've done is we've actually, before this video for you, is sort of sat down and came up with 3 slides of practical ideas that import businesses could maybe do right now in light of the coronavirus situation and the travel restrictions and everything else that's coming into play, to make sure that you don't only survive the coronavirus situation, but you actually thrive through it. So I've got the first slide up on screen right now. And we're looking at some of these practical pivot ideas. And I guess what I thought we could maybe do is just have a bit of a conversation if you're seeing any of these ideas already get implemented in any of the businesses that you deal with. I'll just get started with the first point. and that is to offer a subscription-based service. So, Will, you mentioned wine before. I know that traditionally there are wine clubs and stuff. Do you see any sort of subscription type structure in the businesses that you deal with? Are they taking advantage of that?
Cool. For us, it's a bit different because our customer is some of them sell directly to their end user and some of them sell directly to the restaurant and stuff. So for them,
Sure.
to get this tough period, some of them decided to set up, they call it bundle. So rather than selling subscription, they sell more to bundle subscription.
Right.
So, yeah, so they're just grouping a lot of different products together and just say, hey, it's your Survive Corona period pack or something like that.
Yeah, right. That's a cool idea. So I imagine this works really well in the wine category as well, because you could be like, put together a box of your favorite red wines or something like that, right? And bundle those different products into a single product.
And it's just fun, and it's for people to have more choice as well. So yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, so that's a really good one. We're also seeing some activity, and this is more sort of in the construction sector, but we're seeing some activity of businesses creating buying groups so that they can get MOQs that otherwise wouldn't be achievable. And we're also seeing this in some of the medical supply, even like masks, like the hospital face masks. A lot of the MOQs for like a hospital face mask are up in the sort of hundreds of thousands or millions of units for a minimum order. If you're running a school or a council office or something like this and you want people to wear masks, you might not need 1 million of them. Maybe you need a few hundred or something like this for you to survive. So this is another strategy that we're seeing work well, is businesses creating a buying group, working together with somebody, maybe even like a 3PL company such as yourself or somebody else, to help them achieve that MOQ. So that's something else that we see happening. Do you see any grouping up of your clients? Are they sort of planning together?
Speaking of masks, one of the clients just gave us a mask as well. People are banding together and to just meet a lot of quota and stuff. They're like, hey, I may not need this much of masks, but can I actually have a small amount for my family and community? It's like what you brought up. We see it's picking up, but yeah, and again, it's onto specific sector. It's doing really well right now. Okay,
cool. So that's really interesting that even today, as we're talking about it, somebody's come to you with masks as a product, right?
Yeah.
Is that business? Do you know much about them? Are they a first-time importer, or is this something that they normally do?
First time. I think a lot of people are actually trying to take advantage of the situation, as bad as it sounds, and just to fill in supply and demand gap. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So that also positions a person like yourself or a business like Keepspace in a leadership role. You can teach those businesses how to go about doing their import effectively. And I guess that's our third point here, is to offer supply chain advice for businesses who could potentially become your clients, right? So if anybody is watching this, if you're new to importing or if you're wondering how you might go about doing that, what are you going to do in the coronavirus situation to take advantage of what's happening, then we're here to help. So shoot us a note in the messages or in the comments below. Let us know what you're looking for or what you need help with, and William and I will consider that and get back to you. Another clever strategy I've seen some businesses using is that they're looking at government web pages, and this isn't just federal government, this is at all levels, to understand what help the government needs. So I'm not sure about on the West Coast, William's in Perth, a lot of my network's on the eastern seaboard. So we see, as an example, the Queensland government have put an open call out for help on their website, saying if you have a proposal in your business about how to assist other businesses during the coronavirus lockdown, or how to assist the government, then send your proposal directly to them and they'll consider it. So that can also be a great opportunity for people like this new mask importer that you're talking about. They could actually leverage and scale that business pretty quickly. All right, so let's keep going. We've got scan the government websites, and then you can also join import-export groups and advertise your availability. So if you want to know some strategies around where these groups are and how they communicate, again, drop a comment below or get in touch with William or myself and we can show you where those guys hang out. we're here to help. I want that message to be loud and clear.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So on to the second slide, then we've got 4 more points here. So looking back into the past, into historical events, can also be a really great way for you to make a strategy. William, your business is pretty new. You've been in the market 4 years. Is this like sort of completely unprecedented in your business, or do you have some reference point that you're looking at to guide your operations?
Everyone remember the Black Summer in Australia where the bushfire was crazy?
Viewers from around the world who maybe don't know what that is, the Black Summer in Australia, there was a massive fire event in Australia. And as you can imagine, that also had a similar impact of closing down certain areas of Australia so that the firefighters had complete access instead of normal traffic and so on. So you guys worked through that period, is that right?
Yes, and we were offering a relief effort, and during that time we were offering our air service free of charge to individual and organizations.
Oh, that's amazing.
Then mass Australia, right? So yeah, and I think So while coronavirus is probably a lot more
impacts the whole market, whereas the fires impacted parts of it, you've seen a crisis before and you've got some ideas about how to work. For other businesses watching, I would really recommend that you do that. Have a look back in the history of your industry and see, around even go back to the Great Depression in the 1920s, what businesses survived, what strategies did they use? In the 87 stock crash, what happened around your industry? In the 2002 SARS outbreak, what did your industry do? In the GFC in 2008, what happened? Get a history around who were the successful businesses coming out of that other side, and that might give you some really great strategy for how you can survive as well. Okay, so part of doing that, William, is to look to recession-proof sectors, and you mentioned interestingly wine before, right? And alcohol and beer traditionally is one of these kind of recession-proof industries. Even when the markets turn down, people still buy a glass of wine, they still buy a beer. What other industries are you seeing sort of ramp in terms of their product flow at the moment?
Products going up. Hobby as well. We realize that the fact that people are being in isolation, they're actually picking up some sort of new hobbies and stuff. So any crafty or hobby type of e-commerce business or retail, we see an increase in demand for those products as well. So yeah.
Yeah, perfect, right. And we see the same thing. So traditionally, cosmetics are always kind of a recession-proof one. Supplements, like things that people eat, so like vitamin pills and things like this. Also low-spend recreation and craft, which is what you're talking about exactly, right? So people who are into radio-controlled cars, or they're into, crafting paper diaries or something like this. Those people get busy in times when it's quiet. They turn to their hobbies and they enjoy that. They spend money on their hobbies as well, so that's good. There's also scope, I guess, to offer joint venture opportunities as well. So particularly, I think, Will, your business falls squarely in this category. You mentioned earlier the mask company, that's a new client to you, looking to do this. Have you had any other companies call up, and what have they been asking about? What can they do in this time?
Majority of them is actually retailer. The fact that a lot of retailers are actually closing down store. They actually come to us to say, hey, we actually need some help to digitalize our business. And after the digitalization process, the next step, which comes naturally, is the logistics. It's like, can we utilize your business right now to ship our goods, to manage the inventory, and to manage the order flow? So
yeah, fantastic. I think this is probably a big wake-up call for a lot of Australian retailers who have maybe been looking at building some sort of online flow of product delivery and how they can do online sales. This is probably a huge wake-up call for those businesses to actually implement those ideas.
Yeah.
And it's great to hear that you guys at KeepSpace are supporting the local businesses in that consideration. Another thing that we hear the government talking about, and I'll probably just fly over this one quickly, is to offer favourable payment terms with the coronavirus 19 as the reason why. And I think probably in Australia in the next couple of weeks you'll hear more from the government about what they recommend in terms of rental relief and loan relief and things like this. So I think for this one now, it's good to have it in your mind, but maybe wait for the government to figure out how they can support you as well. So so that's another one that we should keep on the horizon. All right, so we've got one more slide for you guys, and this is also looking at a few more points that you can use as practical pivots in your business immediately to sort of survive and thrive through the COVID-19 event that's happening. So if you don't, we've got here in the slide, if you don't have a supplier or a product, look for companies that are able to help you do drop shipping, right? And I know that like companies like a Burlo or Hyperskew, they sort of offer a drop shipping portal where you can go and find products that already have that sorted out. William, I know that you guys kind of essentially drop ship for your customers, right? And if you wanted to look at it in that way. Can you tell us a bit about that? Clarify it and tell us a bit about it.
I can share with you, some of our customers offered a drop shipping option for their customer who is actually essentially using their storefront and their existing product and using us with drop.
So if somebody's got inventory in Australia, but they're wondering how to turn online, they're wondering how can they offer a drop shipping type of service, then that's what you guys do, right? Yeah, that's your bread and butter.
And it's a good way for people to test the water as well. And
one thing I used to coach my teams on and coach my staff on is that a good buyer never stops negotiating. No. You're either negotiating on price. If you've got good prices, you should be negotiating on service. What do you get for your money? If you've got great service, you should be negotiating on quality. You know, what quality metrics are being met. The range of negotiation that can take place in a moment like this is very broad because everybody takes a second look at how are their business operations happening. So have you had anybody come and approach you for further negotiation now, or are you doing it? Is there something happening there?
We already offer really affordable pricing. So thankfully for now, our customers are not being unhappy with the pricing. But instead of it, I think it's quite important on what you bring up as well. This comes back to communication, right? So at the end of the day, this is a crisis. People should be working together and people should be communicating effectively, let it be supply chain or what. Just bring it up.
So that's cool. If you can partner with an expert like William to help you with that negotiation strategy, he might uncover stuff that you just wouldn't have thought about because he's in the industry all day, every day. So I highly recommend that. And as William said, that starts with you guys communicating. So that's perfect. Now, these last 2 points are kind of more for, I guess, the startup e-commerce kind of person who wants to do startup. But there's also probably some strategy here for other businesses if you're in affiliate relationships. These last 2 points are about you can either offer your services to other businesses that you see struggling and earn an affiliate commission, or the other way around. Ask them, if you see another business doing really well, ask them what help do they need. Maybe they can access your list. Maybe you can give them some new customers and get a commission based on that. Now, I know this doesn't really fall into your expertise or your strategy and your business model, Will, but do you see any of this conversation happening? Like, I know that you've got a broad network in e-commerce. Do you see other people doing this strategy, and how's it working out for them?
Absolutely. We work with a lot of different marketing agency, and it could be, And we see that a lot of people would actually prefer an affiliate model as well sometimes because it's much easier for them to just leverage at what they do best. And I think that's what businesses should be doing as well. Focus on what they do best. Exactly.
And partnering with other experts in the industry or around you can be a great way for you to figure out what are the inside tracks to follow to make sure that that's successful. I want to just send out a clear message to all importers in Australia and actually all over the world right now about the coronavirus situation. There are businesses who are taking this on the front foot, looking for ways to help you. We here at Importing for Profit and at Our Buying Secrets, we are all hands on deck. If there is anybody listening to this who wants to understand how to do a better job of importing, or is wondering how the coronavirus is going to affect their sector or their industry or their supply chain, please reach out to us. We have a great community. We're completely connected to businesses like William's business and others in the industry who can help you solve the problems that you have. So don't feel like you're in this alone. We are all in this together. And William, I'm sure that you guys have the same view, right?
Thank you, Steve. Absolutely, because we can't do it without being together. That's the simple thing. So yeah.
And mate, from us here at Employing for Profit to you directly, we wish you all the best. And if there's anything we can do to help you or your customers, please do let us know. We're here to help you.